It's time for the password show that looks behind the hidden meaning of things. And here's our host, Gillian Hyde.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, glad you could join us again. Do you find that sometimes people will say something, but there's more to it than just what they say? They expect you to be able to read between the lines. Well, today we're going to test our contestant skill at finding those hidden meanings. So please welcome Philip Tanner and Joe Kennedy. Oh, yay. You've lost a bit of weight there.
Yeah, just a touch.
Hey, look at the trendsetter then.
Yeah, could you leave me alone?
Oh, have you got a black eye? You've been to fight, haven't you, Phil?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you have to talk so loud to you?
Oh, you've been up all night drinking, haven't you?
Well, you got it.
Oh, Philip's feeling a bit seedy, I'm afraid. Well, Phil, I hope last night hasn't ruined your concentration, because today I want to see how well you can read between the lines.
Oh, OK. Well, I'd better take my sunglasses off then.
Oh, I can see it hasn't affected his sense of humour, unfortunately.
Oh.
No, Phil, it's not an eye test. Reading between the lines means going past the obvious facts. A bit like being a detective. You get all the clues, but then you have to work out what those facts really mean. It's called making inferences. OK, Joe, over to you. Fact. The footpath is wet. Now, what can you infer from that?
I'd infer that it had been raining.
Why?
Because I've noticed that when it rains, the footpath is usually wet.
Good, Joe. You've justified your inference by experience. A point for that. OK, Philip, any other interpretation from that fact?
It could be a person with a hose. I mean, they often clean the footpaths with a hose around my shopping centre.
Fine, yes, a point to you for that, Philip. Of course, there can be many different inferences that you can draw. Sometimes we might need more facts so that we can be sure of what's the most likely explanation. But now we're going to do something else. Joe, I'm going to give you 2 clues, OK? What can you infer? The first clue is the cat stretched.
Well, I'd say the cat was contented. Perhaps it had just had something to eat.
OK, yep, that's good enough. That's fine, Joe. Now, can you narrow it down with your second clue? The cat licked its lips.
Oh, now I'd say that it's definitely had something to eat or drink.
Right. Yep, that's what was being suggested. Now, Philip. Oh, you got 2 points for that, by the way, Joe. Your first clue, Phil. The lawns are overgrown.
Well, the people could be out or on holidays. Their lawnmower could have broken down, or, of course, they might just be very lazy.
Yes, some interesting possibilities there. Your second clue, the house is for sale.
Well, putting those 2 facts together, I'd say that the house is no longer occupied.
Fine. Empty house seems the most logical explanation to me. I think so. 2 points for you too, Philip. Now, something a bit different again. Writers often expect their readers to draw inferences about characters in novels from a very small amount of information. Now, Joe, what inferences can you draw about the character Meg from this statement? Meg packed all her belongings into one suitcase.
I'd say that Meg had a very big suitcase.
Well, what's the hidden meaning,
look,
Joe?
I'm joking. I'd say that Meg doesn't have many things, and so therefore the writer wants us to think that she's poor, and she's packed all her things, so she's probably going away for quite a while, which probably means that it's a very sad story.
Good. There's a lot of hidden meaning in that very simple statement. Very interesting. OK, Philip, your character's name is Stan, and the statement is Stan dressed nervously in his best suit.
Well, Stan the man might be going for a job interview. I mean, I get extremely nervous before I go for a job interview, and I always wear my best suit.
Well done, Philip. Are there any other inferences that you might draw?
Well, yeah, he might well be getting married. Actually, I know. He's getting married to Meg. That's why she's packing up all her belongings.
Absolutely ingenious, Philip. Actually, I think you might have been reading a bit too much into it. The statements weren't meant to be connected. But it just goes to show what you can do with a little bit of imagination. Just a very little bit. Never mind. At the end of that round, the scores are tied. 4 points each. Well done. And we'll be back with round 2 in just a moment. So don't go away. Everyone knows that muesli's good for you, but the taste. Now there's new chocolate-coated muesli.
It's full of goodness and it tastes good too. And just look at the ingredients. Brown sugar. It's better than white sugar, of course. Vegetable fat. That'd come from fresh vegetables, of course. Dried fruit and nuts. Those ingredients won't weigh you down. Full cream milk powder. Powdered means easier to digest and less fatty. Antioxidant. That'll keep the germs away like antibiotics. Oh, and there's salt as well. You really don't need to add anything, do you? It's good to have all these ingredients written on the package. I can tell what it means. I can read the information and interpret it.
We're back with round 2. Do you find that people use graphs and tables to prove just about anything? You see it all the time. In books, magazines, on television, and certainly in advertising. But what do the statistics really mean? How can we go about interpreting them? Panel, your task is to have a look at these statistics here. Let's see how you go interpreting the figures. Joe, you are the chief salesperson of this company. Your boss, Mr. Philip Tanner, says he can't give you a pay rise because profit is down. It certainly is. What have you got to say about that, Joe?
Well, I would argue that the fall in profit had nothing to do with sales. It could have been caused by rising costs or taxation, but my sales figures are high, as you can see by the sales results.
Well done, Joe. 4 points for you. Now, Philip, Mr. General Manager, is there any other interpretation you can put on these results?
Yes, I'm glad you asked me that. I would oppose any wage rise to this salesman. I mean, sure, sales have increased, but not nearly enough. There should be some connection between sales and profits, and it's things like wage rises and also bonuses which are eating into our profits. So I would oppose any wage rise until profits increase.
Cool, very convincing from our General Manager. 4 points for that, Philip. Any other comments from the head of sales?
Well, I think it's a massive distortion to blame all the problems on us. What about modernisation, for instance? And that drop starting in 1986 has nothing to do with sales. I'd say it was things like computers and new buildings that were the problem. And I actually believe that we're undercharging for our product, and that's why our profits are down.
Oh, Joe, you're certainly reading a lot into those figures. Well done. 4 points to you. Now, the final question is to you both. Here we go. What do you think might be the feelings of the salesperson, Joe, and the General Manager when they saw these figures?
Well, I'm not worried. I've done my job. I just think that management will either have to up the prices or stop wasting money on other things.
Well, I'd be worried if I was you because you're out of a job, and I'm also just a little bit worried. I mean, profit has dropped to the same level it was 5 years ago, so it looks like things are getting worse. So, like Joe, I'm worried about my future.
Well, some imaginative inferences about feelings there. What a good round, and at the end of that, the scores are still tied. Well done, both of you. It's going to be an interesting round 3, and we'll be back with that round in just a moment. Don't go away.
When it comes to buying chips, it's difficult to decide which is best. All the packages look the same. I could buy brand A, which is a few cents cheaper. I might prefer this brand B with salt and vinegar. Or I could go for these extra thin chips. Maybe I could give this brand D a go. It's hard to decide, isn't it? I hope you make the right choice.
I reckon she likes me.
How come?
We talked for ages at the bus stop yesterday.
What'd you talk about?
Not much. The weather and TV. The bus was late.
Maybe she was just filling in time.
No, it wasn't like that. She watches the same shows as I do. We've obviously got a lot in common.
So you're going out soon?
Well, I didn't get round to asking.
Then how are you going to let her know you like her?
I'll send her some flowers. That'll do the trick.
You're joking. Flowers? The last time I sent flowers was to a funeral.
A box of chocolates then.
She's probably on a diet.
I've got the answer. I'll give her a friendship ring.
She'll get all the wrong ideas. Think you're the serious marrying type. You're too young.
We're back with round 3, and that means it's Dear Doris time. Mandy from Maroubra has contacted us with a problem. I sometimes wonder what Mandy would do without us. She's just found a great job. But what does it entail, Mandy?
Hi, listen to this. Acme Supermarket. Wanted young, vibrant, enthusiastic people to work as trainee managers. Initially, you'll be working in stock control and shelf management. Wow, then the sky's the limit. High income potential. If you have a good educational background and well presented, with leadership ability and the desire to succeed, why not join our management team? Wow, that sounds like the job for me. Because look, I'm vibrant and I want to be a manager and I'm quite happy to earn lots of money. Sounds like me, doesn't it?
How do they manage to make those jobs sound so interesting? OK, Mandy, I can see you need some help with this. The panel's been busily writing there. Jo, what advice can you offer her?
Well, Mandy, you need to read between the lines in this ad. I mean, what does trainee manager mean? Are they actually going to train you, or is it just a fancy title?
And I think we should look at these words: stock control and shelf management. I actually wonder whether trainee managers stack the shelves in the supermarket. And if so, how long do they do this for? Is there any other training provided? And how many people become managers?
Not sure, but I'll find out more about it. My references are really good, though. If I really want the job, well, these should help. What do you think of this one? To whom it may concern. Mandy worked for the bottle shop for a period of 4 weeks. We found her polite, but we had to let her go after the breakages. We found her honest and competent on the cash register. It's good, isn't it? I mean, it shows I work in a store and I'm honest.
Well, it's good because it says you're honest and polite, Mandy, but I'm a bit worried about those breakages. I read breakages to mean that while you were working in the bottle shop, you'd dropped a whole lot of bottles and got the sack. And I don't think any supermarket will be too keen on that. What did happen in the bottle shop?
No, I can explain that. See, I didn't get the sack because I broke anything. A car went through the shop window and the shop actually had to close for a week.
That just shows how some people will jump to the wrong conclusion. I mean, I knew all along you weren't accident prone.
Mandy, if you use that reference, I'd put something into with your application to explain exactly what breakages means, because otherwise people are likely to draw the wrong inferences. Perhaps you could read us some more of your references.
Yeah, well, there's this one from my sports mistress, but I don't think it'll do any good. I mean, being good at sport doesn't mean anything as far as being a trainee manager is concerned. It just says, Mandy has a strong record of achievement in sport. She has been captain of the hockey team for 3 years and has often coached the team when I have been away. She has also coordinated the junior athletics this year and organised a walkathon for the local charity appeal.
I think that's great. After all, it shows things outside of school. I mean, being a team captain shows that you can be a leader. And also, coaching while the teacher was away means that you can take initiative. Now, if they're fair income about training you as a trainee manager, then this sort of experience can only count in your favour.
And if they want someone to stack the shelves, well, at least you'll be fit and healthy to run up and down those supermarket aisles.
Thanks. But look, I'm not going to let them pull the wool over my eyes with fancy titles. If it's just a job stacking shelves, they can keep it.
Somehow I can't imagine anyone pulling the wool over Mandy's eyes. Thanks, panel. Some good advice there. And don't you go away, because we'll be back in just a moment.
Coming soon in Money Talk, what goes into planning a new shopping centre?
Do you get angry when there isn't a shop close by your home selling just what you want? In Money Watch this week, we investigate how planners decide where to put shopping centres. A scale model gives a good idea of what a centre looks like on the outside, but what shops should go inside and where the centre should be built are more difficult questions. These decisions require a lot of detective work. If you look at a map of an area You can see main transport routes. Here's the railway station. What inferences can you draw? A lot of people pass by this spot, so it might be a good place to build a centre. But are there enough people to support a new shopping centre? If you decide to build a centre, what shops will go in it? What are the patterns of future housing development? And where are the existing shops and what do they sell? The facts are important, but you need to interpret them.
There's more to planning than meets the eye. This week, a shock episode of Furry Cutler. Has Furry given up the bush and gone fishing?
What do you think is happening here? You could infer that I'm trying to catch a fish. Well, actually, I'm not. I am doing what is called a scientific experiment. I'm trying to find out what fish like to eat. On this line, I've put some juicy orange spaghetti noodles. On this line, some succulent green spaghetti noodles. On this line, some red cabbage. And on this line, a cube of steak. Let's just see how they go. The fish have nibbled at the orange noodles. They've nibbled at the green noodles. They've ignored the piece of red cabbage. And they've ignored the square of meat. What inferences can I draw from this? I wonder if shape has anything to do with it.
When I was a kid, this isn't a long story, when I was a kid, everyone had cornflakes for breakfast, and the first thing that you used to do was grab the sugar and pile it on. Now, a lot of people don't do that anymore because they believe too much sugar in your diet is bad for you. Now, that's just one of many factors that's led to problems in the Australian sugar industry. The industry has even had to resort to television advertising for its product. Now, I wonder what other inferences you can draw about the Australian sugar industry from its having to advertise in that way. Look at this.
Just how many calories do you think there are in a teaspoon of sugar? 100? 50? In fact, there are only 16, which means that you don't have to take off sugar to take off weight.
Nothing tastes the same as the juice from the sugar cane. Sugar, a natural part of life.
Australia's sugarcane farmers are in trouble. They can't sell all the sugar they produce because there's now too much sugar for sale in the rest of the world. If Australia's sugarcane farmers can't sell their sugar at a good profit, many of them might have to give up their farms. In 1980, sugar prices were high. Many cane farmers bought extra land so they could grow more sugar. But they borrowed money for this extra land, and now they may not be able to pay the money back.
This is the property I was telling you about, John. It's a property we bought on the expansion of the industry when things were going well.
So you're one of the last, perhaps, of the new settlers of cane country?
Yes, you could say that, John, yes. We bought the property. We've injected a lot of money back into it. This is the thing that's worrying my brother and myself, who own the property. We've invested enormous money into this property, like developing it with dozers at $70 an hour, excavators at $30 an hour.
Was this virgin land?
What inferences can now be drawn for the farmer's future? Could they try growing something else?
As I said, we invested in the industry, right? We had faith in the industry then. But since then, mate, all sorts of things have happened.
Some cane farmers have tried growing different crops, such as corn. But many farmers may not know about the special problems of growing corn.
I've noticed here, too, that a few of the cobs have been damaged by insects. And if you just look here, you can certainly see where it's been, and it's caused a lot of damage to the silks.
Other farmers have tried soya beans, which seem to grow well. But the crop could be a failure because this land floods easily. Soya bean harvesting machines don't work well in soft soil. Another crop tried is tea. It grows well in some areas and can be easily harvested. However, there's no factory here to process the tea. It seems that if there's no factory, then there's no one to buy the tea crop. Trouble for the sugar farmers can mean trouble for other people. Sugarcane is processed in mills, and in some parts of Australia, these mills have had to close temporarily. That's because the mill owners have produced more sugar than they can sell. This unemployment can affect the country towns that depend on the sugar industry. The sugar farmers don't have enough money to buy new equipment. The people who sell the equipment could go out of business. Other businesses are already feeling the effect. The people who've lost their jobs at the sugar mills don't have money for luxury goods. Some businesses have already closed down, and others may follow. In 1980, the cane farmers thought they had a good future for themselves and their children. But now they realise they could have to give up their farms forever.
There's quite a few of the farmers' wives around here who are working now. Mainly the reason why she has gone back is to be able to the education of the children. That's the main thing, because I certainly want to try to get them through a good education, because I'm not giving them any... I certainly don't want to see them come on the land.
Hard times for the Australian sugar industry. Eat more Mars bars, Phil.
OK.
OK. Ready to play the blanks game?
Yep.
Good, let's go. According to what we've just seen, of course, Australia's sugarcane farmers are in trouble because they can't blank their crop. Australia's sugarcane farmers are in trouble because they can't blank their crop. How are we going? Joe, you finished already?
Yes.
Philip, let's have a look at that answer. Because they can't...
Harvest.
Oh, I believe they can harvest their crop, Philip. Joe, what can't they do with it?
They can't
They
sell.
can't sell it, of course they can't. Next one, Philip. What blanks can be drawn about the farmer's future? What blanks can be drawn about the farmer's future? Very busy here. Oh, some good words there. What have you got, Joe?
Inferences.
What inferences can be drawn? And, Philip, what?
Conclusions.
Two good answers. Well done. The price of sugar is much blank than it used to be. The price of sugar is much blank than it used to be. How are we going there? Nearly finished? Philip,
yep.
I want to see your answer. Let's have a look.
Unana higher.
Higher. I think, Philip, you were having a snooze when that was on. Joe, what's the answer, please?
Lower.
Lower, of course. Hence all the problems. So at the end of what was a very tight game up until a moment ago, Philip, Joe has emerged victorious. Well done, Joe. Good on you. But now we've got a problem for you to solve. Who is to blame for a car accident? You're about to see three people give their accounts of an accident, but are they all telling the truth? Can you read between the lines of the statements that they make? And do they give away more than they intend by what they say?
Yes, an accident in Wentworth Street. Near the corner of Barrett. Just round the bend there? Round the bend. Yes, that's what I said. Thank you. You all right?
Yeah, I reckon so. A lucky bug.
Here, come over here and sit down. Steady. Here, there you go. That's it.
Are you all right? Yeah, no, thanks to you if I am, mate.
What are you talking about?
Swerved, man. You hit me.
I didn't touch you.
Look, ask him. He saw it. We must have.
What did you see?
Let me sit down for a minute, all right?
Yeah, we'll take you to one. I've rung the police.
The cops? What did you do that for? There's no one hurt, is there?
Oh, I thought he was. And it looks like there's quite a lot of damage to the cars.
No, I've got an urgent appointment. I don't reckon I can wait.
You won't be going anywhere in that vehicle, mate.
Well, perhaps I could use your phone, ring for a taxi?
You could be charged with leaving the scene of an accident.
Perhaps I could trouble you for a cup of coffee.
Yes, all right.
But hang on. I'm getting the picture.
Look, I'm a commercial traveller. I travel for my living. I have to have my licence.
You still can't go around causing accidents.
Who says he did?
I do.
Look, I had a few drinks with a client over lunch. You know, he's an important client.
I'll get you the coffee if you like, but it won't make any difference to your blood alcohol level. That's an old wives' tale.
Oh, OK, forget it then.
Your insurance won't pay for the damage, you know.
Hey?
If you're over the limit, you've got to foot the bill yourself.
Listen, what are you starting in on him for? You were the one that caused the accident.
He came at me round a blind corner. He was obviously drunk.
I'm not drunk, and I was on my side.
That's right, he was. And you were the one that swerved over towards him.
What nonsense is this?
Listen, mate, I saw you. I was pulling out to overtake you.
On a corner?
Yeah, well, you were dawdling on like an old turtle.
And you, I'm quite sure, well over the speed limit. And riding without a helmet, for which I'm sure you'll be charged.
Listen, mate, I didn't cause the accident, right? Now, you hit me, and you're lucky I'm not hurt. Otherwise, you could be in a lot of trouble.
It's ridiculous.
Well, who did cause it?
Aren't you a witness?
No. I was putting out food for my dog. So it's your word against his.
Oh, well, I don't suppose the police will have any trouble deciding who to believe. I'm an alderman of Ku-ring-gai Shire Council.
What's that got to do with it?
Well, I'm a responsible citizen. He's over the limit, and you were breaking the law.
Well, what about the dog, then?
What dog?
The one you swerved to avoid? You know, when you swung out and hit me and then went over the other side of the road and hit him.
I don't remember any dog.
Did you see a dog?
Well, I'm not sure. Now, all I remember was him heading towards me on my side of the road and not having enough time to swing away. But, well, there could have been a dog.
What are you all babbling on about? I didn't swerve. And I'm telling you, if you two get into cahoots to blacken me, I'll see you in court. I'm an alderman of Ku-ring-gai
Shire Council, yeah, we've heard that.
Hey, hang on a minute. My dog came running in from the direction of the road just after the accident.
That's just a coincidence. I mean, you were putting food out for it, weren't you? I mean, it's only logical it would come running to you.
Yeah, sure thing, mate.
That man was drunk and driving dangerously on a blind corner. Breathalyzer will prove it.
The breathalyzer will only prove he's been drinking. It won't tell us who caused the accident.
Nonsense. If he's over the limit, he must have caused the accident.
Oh, what about me?
Well, you were speeding, weren't you?
Who says?
By your own admission.
Oh, what admission?
You said you were trying to overtake and you haven't got a helmet on. Police will know who to believe.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see about that, won't we?
Well, it's beyond me.
I really need that cup of coffee.
The police will have to sort it out, that's all I can say. I don't envy them.
So, who do you believe? Who do you think the police will charge? And why? What hidden meanings are there in what the three people have said about the accident? It's all there for you to work out. Bye. We'll see you next time.
That's it for Passwords today. How did you go at reading between the lines? Phil and Joe found a lot of meaning in simple sentences and in statistics. Our happy housewife jumped to all sorts of conclusions just by reading the packet of chocolate muesli. The salesman told us which brand of chips he preferred without actually saying so. Just as well our panel interpreted the job ad for Mandy. She might have gone along expecting to be manager and end up stacking shelves. Tune in for more Passwords next time.